Hi, I wanted to give you an update on the Alice 1958 project and show you where we are. We're still in progress, still working away on the interior. This is our model that we're working with, and I thought I would give you a virtual site visit. So we're going to walk around inside the show building and have a look and see what the scenes are looking like. I'm going to take my little guy here and drop me down on the track. So I haven't worked really hard about doing anything on the exterior apart from this just sort of placeholder ramp. And we may not be doing anything on the outside. Our main focus is the inside of the ride, but we'll see. We might. My only worry is doing something on the outside means that I will feel obligated to do the surrounding area as well. I don't know if I want to do that. So let me just go quickly into walk mode and we'll go inside. So I've roughed in the rock work at the entrance. This remains the same at the park today. And we make our way down the rabbit hole. And I'll have the track in later. And one of the things we found was really interesting was that this section, which has a lot of theming nowadays, it was just a black painted flat-walled box. And so we'll be leaving it like this, but it just seems strange that one of the first things you see is just sort of an empty void. And we make our way in here. And so Rover's been doing all of the initial mapping out and sketching of the scenes, and then I've been bringing in into the model. And so this is the upside down room, which doesn't exist anymore in the attraction. So this is just the rough drawings. It's been sort of a Herculean effort on Rover's part to try to do the brain puzzle of from the reference information recreating these flats and ceiling panels. I've got some more furniture I've got to do for the ceiling, and then we'll come in here and we'll start coloring it. But we just wanted to make sure that everything was fitting. Here's the white rabbit. He'll pop out and blow his horn, and there'll be an animated fish in the fish bowl. And then we turn the corner here, and we see the fireplace, which this was one of the first color pieces we did just to see what that might look like. This will have a little bit of dimension in it. I think in the original ride there was a flame effect that happened in here too. So we turn and go through the wall, and then Alice is getting smaller and smaller, and we're in the scene with the big furniture. These are all flats. First you see the Cheshire Cat, and then as you make your way underneath the chair, he pops down and greets you. And then we make our way into the flower room. And so this was a big effort trying to figure out how this room worked. One of the things that's really kind of interesting about this older attraction, or the original attraction, is that they weren't so worried about being on model with some of these elements. So like this guy right here is kind of an example of what a lot of the flowers look like. They don't necessarily look like the ones from the film. They almost look a little bit like a smiley face. We left a couple of these in, but in some cases we've updated them. These are the correct locations for the pansies, but we are going to go with something closer to the film. But we wanted to capture the feel that you have in this space. We start to ramp up at this point, and then this is the larger room where the ceiling lifts up. Eventually, we're going to try to animate all those pieces that do animate. The other thing that we're going to be doing too is that the model is not necessarily going to be blacklight like it originally was, and a lot of our reference was taken with white light, and white light on blacklight looks usually pretty awful. So we don't really know exactly what the colors were like. We have a pretty good idea. We're going to do our best educated guess. Karen Thompson is going to be doing this room. She's a fantastic colorist with a tremendous amount of experience in blacklight painting. So I'm really, really excited and interested to see what she'll do to interpret this scene. So we're going to make our way up the ramp here. So these are all just the pencil drawings that will then be replaced with the color, but at least they've been put into place. And we're going to turn the corner and we're going to go into the Told You Would scene. What's especially interesting about this scene is that there's not a lot in here. There's a lot of big black walls. Also, our reference doesn't show a lot of detail and information, so we're trying to interpret as best as possible. Heidi Hirsch is going to actually be taking on this task, working on these panels. We're still trying to figure out exactly what's happening with the various pieces, but we have some test set pieces in here to have a look and see what that looks like and make our way up the ramp. And we've got some placeholder color characters, those that animate will. There's not a lot of animation in here. It's mostly a big black room with some tree parts and oversized leaves. Here's the sort of honking horn creatures, and then we make our way up to the pencil birds, and then we come up to this door, and I'm going to have to go back into fly mode so I can make my way through this door. But going through here, these will open up, these crash doors, and then we find ourselves in the Mad Tea Party room. Once again, like the other rooms, it's a big box. Because of the black light, we end up with a lot of the sense of depth and the illusion of depth. So we're trying to stay really true to that. But we're also trying to see if we can get the colors nice and bright, like their black light. One of the interesting things, right now I'm using a program called Enscape, and there's no lighting in here. So it's having to make up its own lighting. And I think one of the ways that it does that is that it has the objects, surfaces, create the light source, which is exactly what blacklight does. So in a way, we're getting kind of a blacklight effect, despite the fact that we don't have UV light in here. So we've got one area painted. These guys are painted. These cups will all get painted. The teapot and the stream of tea will all be animated, as well as the nose on the March Hare. And then here's Rover's rough drawings for the background that will be replaced with the painted backdrops. And I'm going to do the painting on this particular scene. So we have the dormouse pops up in an animation, and then we make our way through this teapot. And then we go into an explosion room, which doesn't have much in it except for lots of flashing lights and explosions. We're not sure exactly how we're going to articulate that, but we'll figure it out. And you come by these signs. In the current attraction, you'd be coming on the Queen of Hearts. And then you go into basically a black corner, and then finally you go through the final doors. I've got 2 of them painted now. And then you will blast through these crash doors, each one with a different goofy holler scream. And then out you go, back to fly mode, and then back outside. So there you go. So that's where we are at the moment. It's coming along really fast. It's been a whole lot of fun. It really feels like we're archaeologists pulling information from the past to recreate. But our main desire was to see whether or not it was possible, and also was an opportunity for Rover and I to work together, something we haven't done for many years. So thanks for following along, and I hope to have some more updates soon. Thanks.